percent, part, whole. And finally, let's discuss finding the whole value if you are given the percent and the part. So I'm going to scroll over here. It should be the third page to the right in your notes foldable. It's just say finding the whole when given the part and the percent. So first, we'll just discuss the process of doing this. And if you're given the part and the percent, what you're going to do is divide the part by the decimal value of the percent. And again, that percent always has to be turned into a decimal. But this one involves some division. And so I'll show you an example. But you divide the part by the decimal value of the percent, and that will give you the whole. So I'll do a quick example. And remember, we always start with our percent over 100 and fix that out, equals part and then whole. And let's try this example. So what if we are given 60% right here over 100, and then I've got the part is 12. So we don't know what the whole is. That is our question right over here. We're trying to solve for the whole right there as we go through. So the question could be something to the effect of 12 is 60% of what number? That's usually how these are phrased. So it says we're going to divide the part by the decimal value of the percent. So the part is 12. So we're going to take 12, and I'll do it right here, find some space. 12, and we're going to divide it by the decimal value of the percent. The decimal value is 60, well, the percent is 60%. To turn it to a decimal, as you guys will recall, we move the decimal point back 2 places, and that turns this into 0.60. Now, we got to be careful right here because dividing decimals is something you might not be familiar with. Right now, this is set up as 12, basically the decimal's right there, and we would start our division. Whenever you divide by a decimal, and we'll go through this a lot this year, you have to get the decimal right over here in the right or to the far right in your divisor. So what I'm going to do is I need to move it back over. So I'm going to say, okay, I need to go 2 places to get this decimal to the end of 60. Whatever I do to the outside in this division, I need to do to my dividend right over there. So now I'm going to move the decimal over right here, and it's going to go up right there. I got to extend this out. We might run out of space. We'll see how we do. And then I fill in a 0. And we'll have to practice this several times, but just follow along. So now I've turned this into like 1,200 divided by 60. So I can do the division real quick. 60 does not go into 1, does not go into 12. It does go into 120, and it goes in evenly. Goes in twice. So 60 times 2 is 120. I'm going to keep going though, because I can subtract, to get 0, but I still have a 0 to bring down. And I still have an open spot right there. So I need to fill that in. 60 doesn't go into 0, it goes into 0 0 times, so I put a 0 there. 60 times 0 is 0, and now that zero's out, and I don't have anything else to subtract. So my answer is showing right here, 20.0, or just 20. So the answer is 20. 12 is 60% of 20. And the division is the trickiest part here, but make sure we move that decimal point over on the outside and do the same thing on the inside. Let's practice a word problem, and I'll show you how we can do this and practice this again. So you have the same problem, you can work along. Nicholas ate 12 of the Skittles in his lunch bag. We know how many he ate. Okay? If Nicholas ate 20% of the Skittles, how many total Skittles did he have in his lunch bag? Okay, well, let's fill out. We always start with our percent over 100, part whole equals part whole. Let's figure out what we have and what we're solving for. So our percent, we actually have 20%. So I can put a 20 in over here. It's always over 100. And that equals, do I have the part or the whole? Nicholas ate 12 of the Skittles in his lunch bag. But I know how many total means we're trying to solve for the total. So we're not going to know what the whole is. So the part is going to be Nicholas ate 12 Skittles. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we can go back and we can do our process. So how do we solve this? Well, remember, we divide the whole by the decimal value of the percent. 20% is right here. How do we turn it into a decimal? Move it back 2 places. 1, 2. Decimal point goes there. Put it in purple so we can all see it. And then let's do our division. So our division goes like this. We'll set it up. 12 on the inside. Actually, let me do that one more time. Give me a little bit more space. So 12 on the inside. Give us some space here. And we're going to divide by 0.20 or 20 hundredths. Now remember, this is like 12.0. Our decimal is right there to start with. But because we're dividing by a decimal number, we always need this decimal to go to the end. And we count how many places I just moved it over. 1, 2. So I have to do the same thing right here. 1, 2. I place it right there. I bring it up so it's in the right spot. And then I fill in this empty spot with a 0. And now I just divide. This is like 1,200 divided by 20. Well, 20 doesn't go into 1. Doesn't go into 12. But it goes into 120 evenly. I believe it goes in there. Let's see. It goes 5 times into 100. 6 times into 120. It's even 120. Because 20 times 6 is 120. When you subtract 0, 0, 0. Bring down the 0. We're not done yet because we had to bring it down. So now we have to divide 20 into 0, which goes 0 times, fills in that spot. 20 times 0 is 0. And now I really have 0 and nothing to bring down. And my answer is 60. You can see it right there. So Nicholas right here ate 12 of the Skittles in his lunch bag. He ate 20% of them. So the total amount of Skittles he had in his lunch bag, I can write that a little neater, I think, was 60 Skittles. He had 60, he ate 12. That was 20% of the Skittles in his lunch bag. So this is how we can find the whole when we're given the part and the percent.